Hello, everybody. Welcome to your Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon workshop, depending on where you guys are tuning in from. I'm super happy to be here. I was having some internet problems at my house, so I'm at work in the office and everything always works out. I had to remind myself. It looks like there's an outage of all days in my area back home. So my name's Alicia. I'm super thrilled to be going over social media with you guys because I'm currently in a phase where I'm trying to speak up and build my social media platform as well. I've been a model for 10 years. I've been doing this since 2016, and I've been a model coach for you guys since 2020 with 99. So I have a series of like 8 different workshops. A couple of them we launched last year. So as I continue my career, I'm always getting, enlightened. And I said, I need to put that in a workshop. So just know that I'm right there with you. I was a beginner once, and I think that having this resource for you guys to be able to connect with people who are in the industry through, the powerful, all-knowing internet. The fact that we're all tuning in from different areas of the country is amazing. I'm just very grateful. So, the first 5 minutes, I always like to get to know you guys. There's a raise hand feature. So if this is your first time meeting me, go ahead and use that raise hand feature so I know who I'm meeting for the first time. Awesome, awesome. Very nice to have you guys. And then another housekeeping thing is there is a Q&A section, not to be confused with the chat. The Q&A section is how you can provide feedback, answer my questions. And so while we wait for more people to log on, which I just saw a few more people sign in, welcome. Go in the Q&A and let me know where you're tuning in from. Are you modeling? Are you acting? And why you're here today. I think that I've been modeling since 2016, and there was a brief period in my career where I took acting classes, and it really helped me become comfortable using my voice. And it also really helped me develop camera presence and comfortability, which doesn't always come right off the rip in the beginning. It's something you kind of have to work and build. So, when I speak about my perspective in modeling, I don't want those of you who are super laser focused on acting to kind of tune me out because they coincide with each other. And so I actually just booked, for those of you who are tuning in a couple weeks ago, I was getting ready to get a call back and I booked a job. So I'm flying to LA next week for a fitting. And then the following weekend, I'll fly to Austin, Texas. And it's a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's more so acting. So just know that even if you are in a certain lane, there could come a time where a job comes into your lap and you might have to learn a new skill. So I'm very excited to test my acting skills, and I'm very excited that I booked a job. And that's always nice, for us in this industry. Oops, let me go back here. All right, we've got Freya is back. Harvey in the mountains of Utah. Oh, which mountains? I love Utah. My family lives out there in North Ogden and Sandy, and my dad is from Magna. Haven't been out there for a couple years, but I do love the mountains. I'm tuning in, guys, from South Florida. It's super hot here. We're in the dog days of summer, and this AC is not keeping up, so God help me here. We've got Chicago. What an amazing market to be in. I love Chicago market. They've got a lot up there. Modeling, acting, and music. Triple threat. Got acting and modeling tuning in once again. Welcome back. Acting, I don't think I have the face and build for modeling. You'd be surprised. Um, like I said, it kind of coincides. Sometimes you might be having to model as an actor. Maybe you're an actor pretending you're an actor acting on set to perform the role of a model. So you just never know. Um, Bryce Canyon. Oh my gosh, I love Bryce. Amazing. Enjoy. I heard you guys are having a little bit of a heat wave out there too. We've got Canada in the house, just started. What a beautiful place to be. What's up, Kai? Beautiful place to be is right in the beginning because you have nowhere else to go but up, and there's a lot of things to learn. So, like I said, this resource for you guys is amazing. I wish I had this when I was starting out. So, basically, my workshops are all a compilation of things that I wish that I knew when I started 10 years ago. So, a lot has changed in the industry, but right in the beginning of my career of 2016, Instagram was kind of popping off. Raise your hand if you guys have an Instagram that you use for your modeling or acting purposes. Okay, we've got three raised hands, four raised hands, five raised hands. So my goal for you guys is if you don't, to create it by the end of this workshop. And for those of you who do, I want you guys to step up and be more visible and start building a brand. So we've got a lot to cover in this workshop. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. We've got 18 people in the room tonight, so everybody deserves a round of applause for showing up for yourself, to invest in yourself. That's how we build confidence. That's how we get momentum in our career. So, what I'd really like you guys to understand is that Instagram is your very first audition. Back in the day when I used to have comp cards made, I learned very early on that whatever I was auditioning for and I was handing a comp card to the casting director or doing a submission in any way, there was always a link to my social media. So I knew very early on that they would be looking. And it's kind of another layer to your audition because it provides a real-time portfolio so they can see what else you have going on. And they're always going to be looking at you before they book you. That's one thing. If you didn't know that, now you know. They always want to know who you are on social media and how you show up because models have kind of transitioned from just being items on a clothing hanger. Like, we're not just a hanger to hang clothes on, we're real people. And so these brands are realizing the power in that, and they're looking for people who are a right fit for their brand or people who have things that are inspiring or motivating or separate lives aside from just being a model or actor. So when you can provide this online material, it will definitely monetize for you and translate into more bookings if you are visible on social media. Clients discover talent through social media daily. So there's a lot of models out there in this day and age because of what Instagram has become. You can create a whole business on there. And so a lot of models don't even have agencies or agents working behind the scenes for them. They book their own stuff. You can do user-generated content if that's your jam, but for the sake of today's workshop, we're just going to be focusing on representing our personal brand on social media and what that means. So this is also going to showcase your professionalism and your consistency. Instagram is basically a timeline of your very first post to your latest post. So this can show people that you have been working, you've been creatively engaged and committed this whole time. And that can really set you apart from somebody else who's auditioning for the same role. They go to look on their Instagram and they see that they haven't posted since 2021. So how are they supposed to take you seriously if you're not showing up to commit to yourself seriously? And then, of course, we're going to go into personal branding. I have a whole exercise for you guys so we can discover what constitutes our very own personal brands. But this is a platform, Instagram, where you can showcase your vibe, your style, and your personality. And I'm going to show you guys how to do it. 5 things required to build a personal brand for yourself. You must show your identity. What sets you apart? It could be the very little things that you're a dog mom, that you're a father, that you're a hiker, that you are a graphic designer in your 9 to 5 world. They want to know the whole package. So this involves your voice, your personality, your style, your values, and your quirks. Then, of course, I briefly mentioned consistency. That's what they're really looking for as well, just that dedication to your craft and to your profession. showing your real personality. So I feel like as models and actors, we are always stepping into a role, right? And when we audition for something, the brand is envisioning us as that character, as that role. So very rarely do we get to show up on set and just be ourselves. So the Instagram content provides that layer for them so they can see exactly who they're hiring. So you want to do real life moments, what you wear, what do you do, places you go, what you love, who you love, and of course the BTS content too. I love when I see a model who does like amazing campaigns in high fashion, showing a little bit of her personality behind the scenes, whether she's dancing on set, joking with a makeup artist. Ashley Graham used to have this series where she would start recording when the makeup artist was going in close to her face, and then she would scare them with like a bite. And it was hilarious. And it showed people that she's a lot of fun to work with and doesn't take herself too seriously. So that is her personal brand. If you guys don't know Ashley Graham, she's a mogul by this point. She's brilliant. My very inspiration for why I even stepped into this industry was when she was popping off. She was huge inspiration for me, or what we call an expander, which I will touch on that too. And then sharing your journey and sharing your development. So they want to see where you came from and where you are now. And Instagram provides that very easy timeline. So this can include your growth, your wins, your losses, and your struggles. Maybe some training that you're working on. That would be a great thing to showcase if you were attending monthly acting classes, or even you, if you recorded some behind the scenes of you right now in this workshop and posted it as a reel to show people that you are actually investing into yourself and you're attending a workshop on social media. And then I like to call this bids for connection, when you post something that's a little bit heart to heart, things that people can really connect with and relate to. And then, of course, you want to create value for your audience. So, why should they follow you? Why should they be invested in your work as an actor or model? Or why should they book you, right? So, this involves being an expander for people. Expanders are motivational figures that prove to you that this can be done, right? So, if you find a model or an actor out there who's similar life stage as you, maybe they look the same as you or similar. Maybe they're from the same hometown, and you see that they're doing that. That provides you with the knowledge that you can have it too, that it is possible. So you can be that for other people as well. So when you book your first gig, celebrate a little bit online. Share some tips on what you think you did that booked you that job, or some inspiration, maybe some advice. That value is really, really good for building a personal brand. So this is an activity that's going to help you guys select some core values. And this is something that came about in my life when I actually invested in a coach. And this was the list that she presented to me, and it really helped me move forward with some clarity on why I'm doing this, who I am, what I represent. These are all ways that make you a stronger model, make you a stronger candidate. When you're grounded in who you are, people can feel that. And when you know exactly what you represent. So, also, just to elaborate on how the industry has changed a little bit, is that they used to just go for like the tallest, skinniest model. And now the industry has become so much more inclusive. I'm sure you guys have witnessed it, fashion, and it's amazing to be a part of it right now. But what's kind of changing, again, because of the use of social media, is people can now show themselves clearly, authentically, versus just hiding behind a campaign or a cool photo or a cool acting role that they did. So when they have infinite choices of people, they might not be looking specifically at your resume or what you've done or how good of an actor you are. Maybe they just want to feel connected to you. So these values are how people understand you without knowing you. It builds the connection. So Think about back in the day, they used to say, okay, well, she's going to fit the clothes. We wanted a blonde. She's a blonde. We're going to book her. But now they can go on your Instagram and they can see, oh, well, she lives on a farm and she raises horses and she's just recently got married and she's talking online about what inspires her and she's showing her style and her fashion sense. We want to book her for that because we like the way she shows up. And it's not always just about face value of how you perform or what you look like. So here's the list as promised. And in that Q&A section, if you want to pick out three of these that really speak to you, these would be the starting point of building your personal brand. So for me, and it's okay to revisit this list if you want to take a picture, because 3 years ago when I did my coaching, my values were different. But now, as I'm stepping into a new era of a model who's been doing this for 10 years, I would say that my values are contribution, meaningful work, and service. I'm actually rebranding my whole social media to really um, capitalize on all the knowledge and skills that I've learned along the way. And I've been, coaching with 99 for 6 years. So I have all the knowledge. So now I'm actually daring myself to show up and put it out there as my personal brand, as I'm somebody that you could go to if you needed a motivational pep talk, if you needed some industry insights, if you needed some strategizing, or my favorite is this inner work that is involved in becoming the model or the actor, or the talent that you want to be. So that's a little sneak peek of what's going on my Instagram, but I'm curious to see authenticity, love, and spirituality. Amazing. And you might find a brand that is has a similar value in spirituality. So if you were to find ways to showcase that on your social media, when they look at yours, it would almost be a no-brainer to book you, right? So it's an added element for you guys to build your brand and have that be a pathway for connection to these brands. Is Facebook a good platform? No. Maybe for connecting with friends and family or people from high school, but for this specific workshop, we are discussing Instagram and the power of that it holds. Okay, we've got a lot of authenticity, which is amazing because I think that's great for social media. Creativity, yes. That's the whole basis of this industry is working with a bunch of creative people. What is the difference between authenticity and honesty? Authenticity is sort of like a frequency that you hold when you are not um, pretending to be anything greater or less than what you are. You are fully dialed into who you are. You know who you are. You've done the work, and you're not trying to dial it down or dial it up to impress anybody. And honesty, I feel like, is just like maybe integrity and always telling the truth. Always, always, always valuing the truth above all. So what do you guys think of this list? Is it insightful for you guys? I remember when I first saw it, I was very it expanded and it opened my concept and my thinking in regards to myself, and it made me a stronger model in all seriousness. And I love this growth here and fun. I mean, it's really hard to pick just three, but if you have picked three, I want you to write them down. Put them on a post-it, and the next time you go to post, it's going to help you because it's like your compass. So rather than posting random content, if you keep these values in mind, it's going to become more intentional. So it's going to guide what stories you share, how you show up. It's going to create that consistency in your messaging. And the goal is to post content that aligns with these values, that when you're sharing with a purpose. and you're creating a brand that people can connect and actually feel into and represent yourself as a professional, of course. So when your values are felt through your content, people trust you. And these days, trust is exactly what gets you hired, which is that authenticity factor where they see you, let's say they see your headshots, they see your digitals, they've watched your submission and they can see that you have the talent. But then they go to your social media and then they see you're exactly who you say you are. You showed up exactly as you are. You have a great energy to you. That's really what's going to get you hired. So again, that social media is the second layer of what really can attract bookings coming your way. So if you don't have your social media set up, and by social media, I mean Instagram, again, my goal is for you to get into it. Think about, even if it seems overwhelming now, think about where you could be a year from now if you really dialed in and posted consistently and helped build your brand and your online presence, essentially. Okay, so we don't want to overthink it. The posts are just expressions. Everywhere, every day, people are expressing themselves as human. It's our nature to express ourselves. So it's just that. And if you're sitting here thinking, I don't know what to post, here's a list of things that you can post. Portfolio and digital updates are sort of standard for models. If you just did a test shoot, if you just got your digitals, your headshots done, of course you want to translate that back onto your social media. But what you don't want is your Instagram to be a whole reel of the same content. So you have to mix it up. You don't just want all the pretty pictures. So we need some behind the scenes videos, maybe some training rehearsals, self tapes that you did. So if you just recorded a self tape audition that you're really proud of, then and you sent it in, maybe you just take that and repurpose it onto your social media and say, here's a self tape I did. Maybe get a little vulnerable, why it was challenging, or why I could see myself in this role, and try to connect with people on that platform through your content. Show your personality, lifestyle, a day in the life. Maybe you're coming home from work and you are cooking a nice meal. I mean, sometimes people want to know that models and actors can take care of themselves and they are enjoying the finer things in life. And if that is a eggplant parmesan from your great grandmother's recipe, have it have a little spotlight on your social media. That's going to connect people to you. Inspiration is my favorite, motivation, heart to hearts, the deeper things that nobody talks about. We don't want to be just so surface level. Let's talk about what really matters, what tugs at our heart. Creative projects. If you have something going on around the house, or you're gardening, or you're even just doing a photo shoot, how-tos, how to set up your self-tape, how to dress for a casting. There's so many different ways that you can inspire and motivate people. And it just takes setting up your phone, recording a little bit, learning how to use the app, edit it, put music, put text on it. And if you need help, I can help you guys. Challenges and wins along the journey. And my favorite thing lately when I don't know what to post, because this industry, if you've been to my workshops before, it goes up and it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. And so one thing that always keeps me dialed in and locked in and focused on my purpose and my brand is finding something to be grateful for. So I love to post about gratitude. I feel like it's contagious and I feel like it's a feel-good topic that everybody can relate to. So the gift of social media is that you can connect with like-minded people. So imagine opening up your social media and you have a ton of people posting all the strides that they're making in this industry, or people who are trying to break into the industry just like you. That holds power. That gives you motivation. That keeps you focused. It's also a practice in getting comfortable being seen. We're going to talk about that on the next couple slides. Using your voice. You can record yourself and use your voice. So express, say something, tell a joke. It could be a 10-second clip, but get comfortable with it. Attracting clients and aligned opportunities for work. And by aligned, I mean when they see who you are and they want who you are. That's aligned. when you're posting your most authentic self on social media and you get the job, then the job is aligned, right? They want to work with you. Hopefully, you want to work with them because you guys have, I don't know, you guys have the shared goals in mind. You want to work for them, they want to work for you. Show your greatest superpower, which is your authenticity and who you are, and obviously because it's free. Need I say more? It's a free way to market and put yourself out there. You think about Instagram, there's like over 100 million accounts. So your little page, your little corner on the internet is like a speck of sand on a beach. So don't overthink it, and just show up and feel empowered to be who you are. So we're going to talk about fear of visibility. Have you guys ever heard of this? This is part of our ego, our shadow side, where um, we need to conquer it. That fear of being seen. You can call it stage fright when you get on set. Just that uncomfortable, that nerves that you feel. But I want you guys to think about it this way, that if you are insanely talented and special, how is anybody going to know that if you don't show up and put yourself out there to be seen? So every model and actor needs to build their visibility, but nobody really teaches us how to do it. So that is another gift of Instagram, is that it's a free tool to build that visibility and also conquer that fear of being seen. Studies show that there are very real psychological barriers to promoting ourselves online, but that is essentially exactly what we need to step into, is that self-promotion. Our agencies can only promote us so much. We can only go to so many castings and be so many places at once or submit to online jobs. So one place to dial it all back to is our page, and we need to really hone into that. So I ask you guys, what scares you the most about being visible online? Have you ever hesitated to post something because it felt too much or not enough? What was it specifically that held you back? And this is my favorite because it shows us all of the possibilities. If fear wasn't a factor, what kind of content would you post more of? So this is exactly what I'm doing with my social media right now, is getting out of the fear and posting more educational content, more inspiring content, and not allowing myself to be held back. So if you're thinking like, oh, well, the people that follow me are not going to want to see my modeling things, who cares? Then the content is not for them. But you need to show up and conquer that and build your visibility as a model, as an actor in this day and age. Fear of visibility can look like this. So I want you guys to send a fire emoji in the chat if you've ever felt any of these. Second guessing every caption or photo, writing posts but never hitting publish, comparing yourself to others, playing it safe with generic content. I did that for about a year on my social media. Worrying more about likes than sharing your message, feeling exposed when strangers comment or follow you, shrinking your online content so you won't attract criticism or judgment. All right, we've got a few fire flames here, so I know you guys can definitely relate. So what I like to focus on is rewiring this. So instead of living in this uncertainty or fear or doubt, we need to rewire our brain out of fear. So ask yourself, whose voice am I hearing when I struggle to be visible? Does that voice belong to you, or maybe that's the voice of a past version of yourself who maybe thought it wasn't safe to show up? Maybe there was one day you showed up and maybe you got made fun of and you're still holding on to that. So, whose voice is that? Because you can absolutely change and evolve as you grow. So, we want to step into a new voice. So, These voices will sound like, oh, I'm too this, I don't have enough that, or people will think this, or phrases that start with I can't. Those are all perpetuating the fear. So once those voices come in, we need to confront them and we need to have an opposing thought or voice right ready to go so we can talk ourselves into a more empowered state. And this is how we rewire our brain chemistry. Um, my favorites, my work and my words are medicine and inspiration for some people. Medicine, okay? And notice there's an emphasis on some people. So it's not going to be all people, and that's okay. You're not here to please. People pleasing is another outdated way of thinking. Not everyone will like me, but I must like me. So if you like your content, if it's authentic to you, if it's in line with your values, then why not post it? Why hold back? I'm an artist and my art deserves to be seen. I will not play small to make others more comfortable, and my light deserves to shine. Okay? So pick a favorite. Remember that when those I can't feelings start coming in, where your fear is, there is your task, right? Remind yourself. Psychological barriers here, we have to beat them. So, to build our visibility, we need to use the video to our advantage. When you let people hear you, they can feel you, and it's automatic connection, automatic trust because you're not hiding behind pretty pictures. Like I said, I did that for a year, and there's tons of models who will keep their Instagram completely surface level, and everything that you can find on their page, you could find in their portfolio. They're not posting anything deeper, anything more meaningful. They're just posting pretty pictures, and I got really tired of that because I realized that it was not stretching me to grow or reveal another layer of myself where I have so much more to offer than just being a model and just producing pretty pictures. So, when you let people hear and feel you and you move on camera, that's also going to establish the trust that brands can trust you to move on camera. How you interact with that camera, your camera presence, your body language, all of that goes into booking a model and an actor. So there are trends that you can leverage, trending sounds, trending hashtags, trends in general. If you guys don't know what that is, I can help you. I'm going to give you guys my contact information, but you want to do this in a way that's authentic to you. And that's one way that when you hop on these trends, because they're trending, it can blow up and be seen more than just a different post. So, cross promoting as well, sharing your content across all platforms. So, my favorite these days is Threads. Does anybody use Threads? There used to be like a Twitter platform, but Instagram and Threads are really great for growth right now and engaging with intention. So remember that visibility is reciprocal. So what you give, you get. So we're going to talk about that as well. But tagging strategically is important too. Tagging brands, locations. If you went out and got a smoothie, okay, and you asked your husband or your wife or your kid or your best friend or your auntie, your uncle to take a few pictures of you sipping on this smoothie. And again, that's a day in the life. That shows interest, that shows hobbies. It shows the real you. You could tag the location, you could tag the smoothie shop, and then everybody who also tags the smoothie shop can see that post. So it's going to build some visibility there. Something very simple as that. If you're wearing a Michael Kors bag and you have a picture with it, tag Michael Kors. It will show up on their tagged photos. So again, you're building visibility. My favorite right now is trial reels. It's a new feature that Instagram put out because when you put out a reel, it's just going to show it to your followers. But when you post a trial reel, it's going to show it to everyone but your followers. And so it's really cool to kind of gauge if it's getting any engagement. And it speaks to a new audience as well. So I've been having some growth using trial reels. It's really fun. It takes the pressure off. Um, But okay, we're moving on to optimizing your profile. So if you have a private Instagram account, that's not going to help you in any way because people have to follow you in order to view it. So you want to have your Instagram set to public. Your photo should be clear up close of your face so it, renders people to remember you, your features, your tone of your skin, your facial expression, your hair. All of that is going to be your money maker. So you want to have it up close. Have a bio that's professional and relevant to your career. Um, I'm a model. I'm in San Antonio, Texas, however you want to say it. Maybe you want to put your, computer analyst by day, actor by night, right? Or aspiring actor with 99. I always like to have a personal Instagram away from my career page. Early on in my career, I blended the two, and it was really hard for me to create a personal brand. So now I have my separate page that has like a handful of followers, and I have my Instagram for my modeling where I can really dial in and focus on building my brand and connecting with like-minded people on there. So again, I'm always going to suggest having your location, maybe not the exact county you live in, street address, but let's say, for me, I'm in Fort Lauderdale. Technically, people know Miami better. So in my bio, when it was optimized for modeling, I put Miami, okay? Or I had my agencies that I had in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and LA, and it said fashion model, and it has a way to contact me, and it has a link so you can click on my agency so people know how they can book you and where you're located. Really important to optimize that. Now, the caption, this is a photo sharing app, a video sharing app, um, but you also have the option to write a caption. So this is going to provide another layer of connection. Think about captivating, connecting, contribute. So the image will get the attention and the caption's going to steal their heart, which is what you want. You want to be charming. Add that into let's do 4 C's: captivate, connect, contribute, and charm. So this is where you give more information, tell stories, express, inspire, teach, motivate, connect, ask questions. So early on in my career, I had this beautiful photo. I got set up with this photographer, and it was the first time that I was going to be posting anything that showed a little bit more skin. It was more detailed in the fashion realm. I had big hair and, a nice smize and a black bodysuit. And instead of just posting that and saying, here you go, look at me, I went in detail on the caption about what that day meant to me, how it inspired me to feel like a woman, how I worked with two gay professionals and they were telling me stories of how they knew each other throughout the years. So I talked about their friendship and the power in the room, and also what I learned about love is love, and, real love is out there, and how maybe gay men see women versus straight men seeing women, and how that all ties into the power of this photograph. So there was a lot. And that was like to this day my most liked photo that I ever had. And I don't believe it was because I was in a one piece or growing as a model and showing more and showing up. It was about what I wrote. And so that shows people another layer to me of why I'm doing this, why it matters, and what I'm learning as I go. So always put that in for relatability to make a strong impression and escape this trap of just being surface level. Talk about the deeper stuff. If I had to share with you my advice. Another touch, because Instagram is always updating. Back in the day, you couldn't put music on a photo, but now you can add music to a photo. So every post, I've always had music since they upgraded it because I feel like it adds to your vibe. It gives people a little bit more information about what kind of music you listen to and your music taste. And maybe there's a message in the song that reaches somebody. So that is all the power of Instagram. Then, of course, a lot of people are saying, well, how do I get followers? And I want to grow. And, what if I only have, 20 followers or if that? I want you guys to shift out of that and don't worry so much about your followers. Worry about the content that you're producing and how you're showing up and what brand you're building. So, I also want to reframe rather than just having a bunch of followers, where if you wanted followers, you could go buy followers on the internet. They even sell engagement. They'll send a bunch of bots to your page to comment. So it looks like you are in a high demand, but all of that again is surface level and it's not worth it. Don't ever do that. We want to build from scratch. So think of your followers like a community. So rather than just gathering a crowd, you want to create a community and people who are supportive, who engage, like, connect, share your content, who are rooting for you. And that could take time to build your community. So the more you keep showing up, the more better chance you're going to create a solid community on there. Like I said, think about where you could be a year from now if you kept sharing engaging, intentional, authentic content. So, how to build a community instead of just attract a crowd. Remember that like attracts like. So, this is a social media connection app. It can connect just like the Zoom call is connecting us. The internet and Instagram can connect people from all over. So, think about not only just posting on there, you want to be engaging with people on there. So back in the day when I first started building my Instagram, I was messaging models and I was asking them for advice. I was following them. I was commenting on their page. I was following photographers, stylists, fashion brands, and kind of liking that. Every time you like somebody's thing, or follow them, they get a little notification. And it's kind of like dropping your business card all over. And all they have to do is click and they can visit your page. And within seconds, they can tell if you guys are aligned or not. And when you're engaging with their content and supporting you, they're more likely to return that as well with a follow, with a like. So find people that you admire, want to work with, like-minded people. And when we're posting again with intention, making your followers feel like they're part of your journey. And this buzzword, the algorithm, it never used to be like that back in 2016. You'd post on Instagram and all your followers, it would show up on their feed. But now they only share it to like 10% of your most engaged followers. So it's going to reward activity and consistency. So when you follow and support similar or relevant pages, it's going to bring you more of that on your page. So it's a reflection of what you engage with. So let's say on your personal page, you're liking all of this baking content. So next time you go onto your explore page, it's going to send you a bunch of cakes and small content creators showing their cupcakes, their icing and everything. So that's the same way with our brand page. If you're focused on acting or spirituality or adventures, the more you like content like that, the more it's going to show you that. And so, in that sense, social media can be a huge learning tool for you as well. So, instead of opening it up and seeing, maybe people you're connected with on that app that you haven't spoken to in years, if you spend some time in Instagram and searching, um, top Canada photographers or Canadian models or Southern Utah modeling agencies, acting agencies, and you spend some time liking and engaging with stuff like that. Every time you open your app, you're going to have new, fresh content to explore, and the algorithm will also show your content to those people. So, I want you to think about what you're consuming on your social media. We've been talking a lot about what you're putting out there. Think about what you're consuming. So, follow and engage with people who inspire you, modeling agencies, photographers, local publications, local magazines, film and theater directors. Maybe there's a theater in 2 towns over from you. See if they have an Instagram. Get to know some actors in your, I mean, this is a huge tool that we're missing out on if we're not using it to network and grow and build. So I want you guys to ask yourself, what can you create? Think about why we're in this industry. If you haven't been to my inspiration workshop, please come because we talk about that exactly what is our why. But I can tell you that it's a creative industry and there is power in the human capability to create, and we need each other to create beautiful works of arts, whether it's a movie, a film, a production, a billboard, a photo, a commercial. So, what can you create? And everybody has a tool with them that they can create and film. So what is one thing that you can post this week that feels brave? And I want you guys to go in with this idea that you're not going to be so focused on if it's perfect. You have to start somewhere. So just post. Reintroduce yourself to your audience. That's one that I've been meaning to do lately. And every time I do this workshop, I'm reminded that I still haven't done it. Excuse me. But this holds power because people who are looking for people like you can find you. Think about the next generation of models and actors who need support, who need people to show them that they're showing up and they're beating their fear of visibility and they're putting themselves out there and they're getting opportunities, or they're enrolling in training, they're attending workshops. All of that is like a butterfly effect. So we can help the next person and also show, think about from the perspective of a casting director. Let's say they're looking at your page, you submitted to a role online. Maybe it's just a small role, or maybe it's a big role. And you're hopeful and they asked you for your Instagram handle. What are they going to see when they go look? Are they going to see that you haven't posted since 2021? Or are they going to see a nice introduction video? Are you recording yourself? Why you're in this industry? What are some things you like to do? What do you love about acting and modeling? What's your earliest experience in acting or modeling? Or what drew you to this industry? That holds power. That's how you represent yourself and become more than just talent. There's a person behind the person who's showing up to audition. So they want to know all of that. So I also would like to encourage you to review or audit your Instagram or your TikTok profile from a business standpoint. So, do you think the current content you have is giving you a stronger position to book jobs, to build a brand? Does your bio provide clarity about where you're at, who you are, what you do? Or are there a lot of posts about, your dog or the food that you eat or your kids, which all of those have a place, but you want to make sure it's balanced, right? So that your whole page isn't taken over by things that aren't building your brand or building your connection to your audience or to, your craft of what you're doing, why you signed up with 99. So we've reached the end of the workshop. We have some time for questions, but I did briefly touch on this earlier when we were talking about my Instagram. I am creating a not your average model community. That's what my brand is called. Not your average model, where we talk about deeper stuff, not all the surface level stuff. So somebody could teach you how to pose and give you the industry knowledge, but they need to help you. There's an understanding of inner work that you have to do as well. So follow me on my Instagram. I have it listed right here for you, and I have an email if you have any personal questions, but I'm showing up in a whole new way on Instagram, and I invite you to follow along because I'm sharing a ton of, industry knowledge, insights, tips, tricks, and I'm just being more vulnerable and I'm showing up more and I'm showing my true self and what makes me feel alive. And to be honest, being part of 99 has been one of my greatest honors in my career, to be able to give back information to people, because when I first started, nobody gave me information. They just kind of threw me out to the wolves and I learned everything on my own. So, as part of my brand, I am offering strategy calls. So if you feel like you have specific questions and you want like one-on-one time, we can hop on a Zoom. We can do like 45 minutes to an hour, and I can answer all of your questions. And hopefully that will be a big help or support to you guys. And if you know anybody who should be a model or who should be an actor and they're too afraid to do it, that's kind of like my niche, is I'm trying to find people who are too afraid to show up, who are letting fear run the program. Because let's be honest, this is an industry where you need a lot of courage. You need to show up, you need to have a strong mindset, and you need to know yourself. I think that models and actors sometimes get this rep for being like non-serious people who are maybe shallow or vapid or care too much about appearances. But honestly, I feel like there's a lot of inner work that we have to do to be able to show up in an authentic way. And we get rejected a lot. And you'd be surprised how rejection can really build confidence. So I talk about that as well. And just showing up. As you guys know, if you've been to my workshops before, showing up is half the battle, but it's half the battle that people are not willing to do. I've really enjoyed my time here this afternoon with you guys. It really kickstarted my day on a very positive note. And because I had to travel to work to teach this because my internet is down at home, I don't have my next classes in front of me, but I encourage you to check the calendar, check the schedule, look for my name, and I hope to see you guys again in another workshop. For um for the questions and comments here, I thank you guys for your feedback. I'm just trying to sort through some of these. I love your mindset. Thank you, Mark. And I'm glad you feel like you have a good positive outlook too. I always turn to my favorite quote, my deepest fear. It's got me through some tremendous experiences and low times. What is the favorite quote from Marianne Williamson? I might need to look that up, or maybe you could email that to me because maybe I can just pop it into my workshop and share it. Very happy you guys have learned more. This workshop will be offered again and again. And to be honest, it only gets better and better. Um, so if you ever need a refresher, you're bored on a Saturday, or you really want to dial in, they serve as really good refreshers too to keep this information fresh and kickstart your day. Nice pep talk for you. So as always, I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I'm happy you guys showed up for yourselves. Be so proud of yourself. I'm wishing you the absolute best, and I'm hoping to connect with all of you again in the future. Have a great rest of your weekend.